I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. Today we are looking at the IWC Ingenieur Automatic, 44 millimeters in stainless steel and titanium. You can see this IWC Ingenieur on our website, watchyouwant.com. Purchase it there if you like, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now you can see on my wrist 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. The Ingenieur 44 is a surprisingly agreeable companion for a smaller forearm. Now 14 millimeters thick, but with a double-stepped bezel and a conical bezel top, this one actually slips easily under a dress cuff even, and pretty much any sleeve, short of the absolute tightest button-down job, is going to fit over this easily. So it is a surprisingly versatile timepiece for an out-and-out technical watch. But what it also has is a wonderful cushion case profile. So although it's broad, and you can see that on my wrist, it spreads its mass nicely so it sits relatively light upon the wrist for something that is so big. Forget the round portion of the case. This is effectively a cushion case, and it has a footprint to match. Now there's another feature that sets the Ingenieur apart and makes it easily wearable on a smaller wrist, and that is the system of underslung lugs. While the watch is 54 millimeters from extremity to extremity, we're not really measuring the pivot points of the strap from these extremities. Actually, they're underneath, and the spring bars thread in through a perforation in the interior lugs. So effectively, the strap starts underneath the case rather than the end of the case. That allows it to curve easily around a smaller wrist. Now, I want to add that although the strap looks imposing, with a sophisticated technical fiber and a contrast, or rather a monotone black stitch, the contrasting material is actually a contrasting type of material rather than a color. Calf skin underneath that is very supple, sits like butter on the wrist. It really speaks to the high quality of the timepiece overall, and it works in concert with an excellent pin buckle that IWC styled and finished with surprising flair for a sort of rote piece of a timepiece. Although luxury watches inevitably cost a lot of money and are billed as premium products, many watchmakers don't take the time to add this kind of sculpting, this kind of contrasting finish and faceting, never mind this beautifully sculpted pin, which might be the best I've ever seen on any pin buckle, certainly the most impressive and thoughtful. But when you get to the case itself, you understand what the main event is. It's this beautiful Gerald Genta inspired Ingenieur cushion case form. Now, based on the 1976 Ingenieur SL or Jumbo Ingenieur, the reference 1832, it has the profile of those technical watches that Genta designed during the 70s. The Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, the Patek Philippe Nautilus, and of course the IWC Ingenieur SL. Where this one sets itself apart is in the use of a modern ceramic bezel. Now, this model debuted at SIHH 2007, and it integrated rugged, traditional technical watch stainless steel with high-tech kiln-fired ceramic. And what it brings to the table is the same kind of scratch resistance that you get from sapphire crystal. So while conventional sports watches with either aluminum insert bezels or polished or brushed metal bezels or some sort of synthetic bezel are inevitably going to scratch and wind up looking like beat-up New York City cab fenders, ceramic can only be reliably scratched by diamond, just like the sapphire itself, so it's going to ensure long-wearing good looks for this Ingenieur. Now, moving inboard, you can see that there's a lot of modernist update to the traditional Genta design, whereas the case and the bezel are very much in homage, albeit in high-tech materials. The dial is a sporty step forward, looking toward the future. Now you can see it has great depth with applied elements sweeping from 7 to 5 at 6 o'clock and 11 to 1 at 12 o'clock. Now they balance and frame the dial top to bottom, just as the Arabic numerals 6 and 12 do, plus they add little splashes of color, and you can see that color theme is recurring sparingly but sportingly around the dial in the hashes of the minute track as well as the tip of the seconds hand. It's very attractive, and it gives us that classical motorsports tricolor, the red, the white, and the black that you seem to see everywhere in F1, Indy cars, even NASCAR. I like the look of it. It's very at home, very appropriate on a technical watch. Now you'll notice that there's almost sort of a hobnail texture to the dial base itself. If you look very closely, you'll see it's actually a recurring interlocking eye motif to remind us it is, after all, an Ingenieur from IWC. But it's not overt, it's subtle, it just adds dynamism to the dial, like an eggshell texture or a metallic graining, a sunburst perhaps, just adds a little bit of texture on which light can play and change the look of the dial as you move it around on your wrist. All of the applied elements are of excellent quality and the contrast is superb. So in terms of succeeding at the basic function of telling time, this Ingenieur is a champ. What it also is surprisingly subtle. Now functionally you want to be able to discern the date, but the use of a high contrast two-tone date window within the black dial would come across as a bit controversial and dissonant if it didn't serve such a perfect balancing function to the index at 9 o'clock. So you actually have that horizontal as well as vertical balance, a sort of cruciform symmetry to this watch that makes it very handsome. Now, the timepiece does feature an IWC in-house caliber 8111. This automatic winding 44-hour power reserve movement features hacking seconds. True to its form, it is an Ingenieur, a technical watch that can be synchronized to a reliable mission timer, an atomic clock, or a known accurate quartz watch. And when you resume the timing, you find that the watch also has a quick set date for easy setting. Now, the Peloton winding system that's used in this watch is an IWC mechanical engineering legend. Dating back over 60 years, it uses, and I'll show it to you right here, it actually uses metallic pawls on a ratcheting wheel that allows it to wind in both directions. Very efficient. It's also shock protected, making it one of the few automatic winding systems that is very clever, very tough. It's as efficient as it is rugged, and it's an IWC original. It adds a lot of mechanical engineering patrimony to the watch, linking it not just aesthetically, but technologically to IWC's greatest hits. Now you can see this Ingenieur stainless steel and ceramic, 44 millimeters, 12 ATM water resistant, rugged, good looking, innovative, and yet historically true on our website, watchyouwant.com.